Hi, I'm Dawn Livingston, and welcome to the Transcend and Succeed show, dedicated to inspire you to take steps to unlock the limitless potential within you and pave the way to an extraordinary life. Today, I have an amazing guest who's going to talk to us about numerology. So stick around, I will introduce him right after this. So today I am delighted to introduce to you Dr. Craig Wright, who's a native of Baltimore, Maryland, where he studied religion and philosophy. He holds degrees in psychology and metaphysics, is an ordained metaphysical minister and a certified metaphysical practitioner and an expert in numerology. So welcome, Dr. Craig.
Program.
Maybe, there you are. You're so welcome. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
Can you hear? Oh, good. Okay. Um, Dr. Craig, can we jump right in and can you tell us about your life experience and what triggered your transcendence?
Yes, I started off practice studying numbers and mathematics to become an engineer, Don. And when I was preparing uh, in school, it was my junior year in college, my best friend died from a drug overdose, Don, and
Mm,
I wasn't even aware that he was using. And this taught me something about myself. I was very self-absorbed. I wasn't paying attention to anything going on around me. I felt like there should have been something that I should have been able to do something to help. And that changed my life. That's the experience that introduced me to the science of numerology. Um, People think of numbers in terms of counting or their address. For example, if I hold up one pen and if I say I have one pen, that's a quantity. But what I discovered was through numerology, numbers reveal spiritual qualities. For example, if I look a little closer, Don, and I say, big pens are number one, I'm no longer talking about a quantity. Now I'm referring to a quality of being the best. So figures reveal quantities, but numbers reveal qualities. I was introduced to this science through a song. I was in a state of wanting to know why I was here. What was the meaning of life? I just lost my friend. Is life so arbitrary? Why am I here? So this was my state of mind, and I heard a song on the radio by an artist by the name of Roy Ayers. And the lyrics were secrets of numbers, secrets of sound, secrets of wisdom can be found. Well, I was intrigued by the lyrics, so it took me 2 years to finally get a copy of that album, and I read the jacket. This was back in 1972. Okay, so there was no internet, there was no Amazon. So it was taking me a while to collect this information, but eventually I got a copy of the book. that the person who wrote the song had read, and it was a book by an author by the name of Vera Stanley Alder. And the book was entitled In Search of the Third Eye. And this was my introduction to all things spiritual, all things metaphysical. She spoke about the secrets of sound. The reason why we have a favorite song is because it harmonizes with our energy. This book was about the secrets of color, how colors can influence how we feel, how we think. And I read the book and I made a great discovery. People thought that this was back in the 70s now. And before that, people thought that females were very docile. But what they discovered was it was the color pink. The color pink makes you docile and makes you acquiesce and
Oh,
takes
wow.
your will away, basically. So they discovered, well, if we stop dressing people in pink, they wouldn't have those qualities. I saw a show on TV where they painted one cell green and one cell blue. The person they put in the blue cell was a Saturday night, so they are experimenting with people who are getting in arguments and fighting on Saturday night. They put one in the blue cell. This guy started confessing everything he had ever done, asking for forgiveness. True blue, right? They put one in a green cell. This guy screamed and howled and kicked all night until he just passed out. So they discovered green brings about aggression.
Wow.
But what really, really captivated me were the numbers. Since I was preparing to become an engineer, math and science all my life, this opened the doorway to me to spirituality. Before then, I was a non-believer. I was an atheist. If you couldn't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, measure it, quantify it, it wasn't real for me. But after this experience, I discovered there was an underlying intelligence in the universe that was not controlling my life, but it was there assisting me. And the amount of assistance that I received was proportionate to the amount of interest and attention I paid to this underlying energy. So we call this underlying energy, we call it God, Yahweh, Allah. Man has many, many names. Now there's a movie, they call it The Force and the Star
Yeah.
Wars. Many, many names for this underlying energy, but it's real, it exists, and it influences our life.
Mm. Yeah, I would agree. There are many, many names, I think, for the same thing. Like you were saying that, God and creator as well, universe people use, but it's all to describe the same thing. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so
Yes.
can you explain what numerology is? Go into it in a little bit more detail for us.
Yes, I'll be glad to. Numerology is the study of numbers. Okay, ology means the study of, so numerology is the study of numbers. Why do we study numbers? So we get an understanding of who we are and why we are here. You see, numerology is it's a great, great tool. It's a great, great tool. Um, a wise man once said, um, if you have a positive mirror, if you have a good mirror, you'll know how to live. Well, numerology was taught in the ancient schools, mystery schools of Egypt, and above the temples were the words "Know thyself." So numerology is all about self-concept. Okay, self-concept is at the very foundation of our being. Who we believe we are, our self-concept, not only affects but determines our potential in life. Most of what we think about ourselves, whether good or bad, is determined largely by what other people have done or said about us. Parents, teachers, employers, and other people have all played a role in developing and shaping who we think we are, and it's largely based on their motives and intentions, which what they want us to be. Now, it could be good intentions. My parents wanted an engineer. They wound up with a numerologist. So I'm still building bridges, so to speak, from the spiritual to the material world. But that was not, being an engineer was not why I was here. So we have well meaning people, then we have people with not so good intentions trying to control us or manipulate us or get us to think things that we're not. So here's where numerology comes in. Okay. We are not defined by people. We're not defined by our past or how we were raised or what didn't work out. We are defined by the Word. Okay? A great man said, when we look into a mirror of the Word, we find we are valuable, talented, confident, and favored. So numerology is an ancient tool. It's been around over 3,000 years. It doesn't take into account anyone's opinion or what they think. The answers are already there. You just see which ones apply to you based on the letters in your name and the numbers in your birth date.
Ah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. And you touched on there about, your what am I here for? What is my purpose? How can numerology help you find that?
Well, there are many numbers in numerology, but the number that tells you why you are here is called the destiny number, or some people call it the life number. Um, we numerologists have different names for it, but why you are here is determined by the letters in your name. The letters in your name. Each letter in the alphabet is assigned a numeric value, and numerology tells you what those numbers mean. Zero in the beginning is a symbol for the creator, the first cause, God, if you will. Everyone knows what number one means, leadership. Numero uno, the first, the fast, the top, the best. But every number has a meaning. The number two stands for cooperation and peace. The three stands for expression and abundance and youth. If Adam was one and Eve was two, one plus two is three. That's youth working with children. The number four stands for work and orderliness. Okay, making sure everything is proceeding in an orderly fashion. Five stands for freedom and change. The number six is a symbol for service and being responsible. See how the numbers flow? We flow from one to partnerships to having children. Now you've got kids, you got to put them in a playpen to maintain order. That's the number four. You can't leave them in the pen. You have to take them out for some exercise. That's the five. But too much freedom can lead to anarchy. So we need some responsibility. That's the six. Once we are responsible and dealing with our responsibilities, now we can rest and take a break. That's the number seven, the number of rest. During our quiet time, when we're resting in stillness, we start to hear that inner voice. So we start to seek the kingdom under the number seven. And in so doing, all else is added unto us. That's the number eight, money, power, position. That's sort of the carrot that's held up to keep society going. Get a bigger car, get a bigger house. That's the number eight. But once we realize, after we've satiated all our material desires and we're not satisfied, we move to the number nine. That's the number of selfless giving. It's the last number. It indicates the highest development anyone can achieve, because after the number nine, we go back to 10, and that's another number one. One plus zero is one. So nine is the ultimate. It symbolizes attainment, fulfillment, and many old souls are operating under the number nine. People who have come back to help the rest of us, to give us a boost in the right direction, if you will. So once we've satiated ourselves with money and power, now it's time to give it away. So nine stands for philanthropy. Giving, number nine, but getting little or nothing back from those you give to. Why? Because nines are here to help the poor, the sick, the disadvantaged, and those are people who can't give back. But you'll also encounter some people who won't give back. That's a big challenge for the number nine. Now, aside from 1 through 9, we also have 11 through 99, double digits, two ones, two twos, two threes. And Don, those are called master numbers. Master numbers are testing numbers, but it's like an investment, okay? If you put your money in a bank, you might get 2%. Put it in the stock market, you might double it. Of course, you could lose it all. So master numbers give people the opportunity to achieve greater things spiritually, but they also create more challenges and tests for the person who's operating under that vibration.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. And how would numerology relate to, and I think I can probably speak for a lot of people just now that are seeing certain numbers all the time. Every single day I see 11, 11, 12, 12, 222,
Yes.
333, on the clock all the way through. Does that have any numerological meaning?
Yes, it does. It is the
Okay.
universe seeking to communicate through us.
Okay.
Numerology dates back to 3100 BC. It was taught in the Luxor Temple mystery schools by the great Egyptian masters. There's evidence that Moses, Pythagoras, and Jesus were students there. But St. Augustine of Hippo, okay, he wrote, numbers are the universal language offered by the deity to humans as confirmation of the truth. I have to think back to what was my mindset when I was seeking. Why am I here? What is my purpose? That's how I was guided and directed to numerology. Those are the questions that it answers. I discovered that I was here. I had gifts and I had a purpose. If you will, I was born like everyone else with a toolbox and a blueprint. Okay? The toolbox were the numbers in my birthday, and the blueprint were the letters in my name. And when you combine your gifts, talents, your tools with why you're here, it reveals what you came here to do. Your ultimate purpose is a combination of your gifts, your talents, and your purpose. And numerology leaves no doubt about it. As they say, Don, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, I think it's probably a good time if we could just have a quick break just now, but stick around with us because when we come back from the break, Dr. Craig is going to tell us his favourite quote. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
Jeff Pearson here, host of Invisible Condition, where we talk about all the people who are living and thriving with all those conditions that you can't necessarily see from the outside. Join me every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on E360 TV.
And welcome back. We are here today with Dr. Craig Wright, and we are talking numerology, the power of numbers. And Dr. Craig is going to tell us his favourite quote. So, can you tell us what that is and why you like it so much?
Yes, this quote is from Og Mandino, and it's a book he wrote called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And he says, you can change your life with the priceless wisdom of the ancient scroll, with ancient scrolls. And the quote that I love from this book is, I was conceived in love and brought forth with a purpose. I was conceived in love and brought forth with a purpose. I like that quote because it tells us we're not alone. There is an entity, whatever you decide to call it, a loving, kind, loving, generous, regardless of how it seems. Okay, we can't judge things by our perspective. And that's a great quote because it fits numerology. It talks about being born out of love. So when we love someone, we like to bestow gifts upon them. And the Creator has bestowed gifts upon us based on the numbers in our birthday. Okay, if you're born in January or October, you have the gift of leadership, just as an example. And the quote also says, conceived with a purpose. And that was the main thing that I found in numerology. I tell you, I was lost. I did not want to continue. It was like all of a sudden I just had my legs cut out from underneath of me when I lost my friend out of the blue. He was just gone. So this science of numerology enabled me to transcend those dark days and discover my purpose. And I, I also like it because what turned out done for me and my initial assessment was the worst thing in the world that could have happened to me. It turned out to be the best thing. It was my awakening. I no longer considered my friends transitioning as a death because through my study of the numerology, I realized the Jeremiah effect. We have a contract with our Creator before we're formed in the womb. So he didn't die, he simply went back to his original state. And I began to realize I had he was part of my contract, and his passing was my initiator. That's what spawned me. That's what got me going. And I can honestly say, if it wasn't for that event, I would not have been able to help all the people that God has brought to my path for me to share this information with. So I thank Him every day. I thank Him in my in my book. I speak to Him because I know that He's still there. The first thing I learned in physics was energy cannot be created or destroyed. That's the first thing they teach you in chemistry. So it's not their intention, but they're actually proving that God exists. The line between science and spirituality, that space is getting narrower and narrower.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I was having a little bit of technical issues with my mic there. I had to swap it over. But I think that leads us really nicely, Dr. Craig, into the Jeremiah effect that we had talked about briefly. Can you give us more information and explain that to us?
Yes, I'd be glad to. That's why I like the quote, born through love. Okay, the Jeremiah effect is based on a scripture about the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah was very reluctant to do what he was called to do, and he was reminded, wait a minute, Jeremiah, we had a contract before I formed you in the womb. I made you a prophet unto the nations. So from that scripture, we realize we're not physical beings having occasional aha spiritual moment. We are spiritual beings having a temporary physical expression. That's what you learn from the Jeremiah effect. So we have a contract. The numbers in our birthday are God's part of the contract, our gifts, born through love. The letters in our name are our part of the contract, and that's with a purpose. Okay. So the script Jeremiah in Jeremiah 11:29 it says, or 29:11 rather, it says, I know I brought you here and I have plans that will prosper you. So it's all about realizing we're here for a purpose. We're here for a reason. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. We all have gifts, talents, skills, tools, abilities that we can utilize. Okay. Now you have to develop these gifts. I mean, after all, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, okay? The greatest player in my generation to ever lace him up got cut. He wasn't using his gifts. He wasn't practicing them, developing them. So it's one thing to have the gift, but we have to unwrap it, right? To
Mhm.
get access to it. So that's our challenge. And that's where numerology comes in. There's so many voices impacting upon us, different reasons, different modalities, different motives. But when we look at the science of numerology, it's all based on a science that's been around 3,000 years. So the answers are already there.
Yeah.
With numerology, you just figure out what of the information applies to you. So that's why I call it the Jeremiah effect. We have gifts and our birthday, and there's a plan which is revealed by the letters in our name. So we partake with this contract based on our need to learn and grow. We choose our own life experience. I hear people say, well, you can't choose your parents. Yes, we do.
We do. It's a contract. Yes. All
Yes,
the
we
choices are
do.
made. Yeah.
Every detail is chosen based on what we need to learn and grow. So many times we're trying to get away from the very things that we chose to develop. Okay? People think about, oh, I want a life of leisure. I want to sit on the beach and sip cocktails all day. That's not what it's about. We come here to have challenges, to develop our spiritual muscles, and you develop muscles through resistance, okay, through lifting weights, if you will. Those are our challenges. In my case, it was the death of my best friend. And these are things that we have to transcend.
Mhm.
Okay, everyone has a story, and your test becomes your testimony if you can make it through the storms.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I find that, we have to go through some hardships before we actually find the courage to grow, you know. We've got to expand all the time, and sometimes we've got to hit that low point before we realize that there's only one person that can send us back up again, and that's ourselves.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. That's the golden time of day. It's like they talk about the prodigal son. The prodigal son had an awakening. Wait a minute, you know. Wait a minute. This isn't why I'm here. This isn't what am I not I'm supposed to be doing. My father is rich, and when we turn and head back, that's the path of transition and transcendence when we start to work our way back to that truth through that light. So if you're watching the program and you find yourself in a dark space, perhaps this will be a tool that you can use.
Yeah.
You definitely want to keep tuned into this program, okay, so you can get more ideas. For me, it was the numbers because that's how I was programmed, Don. Wanted to be an engineer, and God knew I wouldn't pay any attention to anything but the numbers because that's where my confidence lies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
for someone else, it may be colors, as you mentioned before. So for someone else, it could be sound. But stay tuned in to this program, to this format, because you've been guided here. If you're watching the show, it's not by accident. Stay tuned in. You're a seeker, and you found your source.
It's to stick with whatever resonates with you, isn't it? Whatever feels right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. How do you go about then using your name to get the numerology? How do you go about that?
Okay. Um, for every letter, there's a numeric correspondence based on where the letter falls in the alphabet. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. But because 9 is the last number, we only go from A to I. That's the ninth letter.
Hmm?
And then we start again under the number 1 with the 10th letter. Why? Because 1 plus 0 is 1. J is also a number 1. So we start again. 1, J, and we go up to this time R. So J, K, L is a 3, M is a 4. We go to the R. That's the 18th letter. That's the number 9. Then we start again with S. another number 1, the 19th letter. 1 and 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So it's real easy to make a conversion chart. If you want to follow along, you start with the numbers 1 through 9 at the top of your page. Under the number 1, you put A, J, and S. Under the number 2, you put B, K, and T, and you just follow it all the way out. Fill in the rest of the alphabet, and you've got a conversion chart to turn the letters in your name into numbers. Why do we do that? Because the definition of the numbers is already there. For example, everyone knows number 1 means leadership. That's a number that has not lost its meaning throughout the ages. Numero uno. But every number has a meaning, and you can determine by substituting the numbers for the letters in your name why you are here. That was a big one for me. I wanted to know why I was here. What was my purpose?
Okay. And I know you had asked me for, my birth name, my current name and my date of birth, because you're going to walk through what it all means in numerology terms. So can you do that for us just now?
I'll be glad to. Dawn, I'd like to start with the date of birth. The date of birth reveals our gifts, talents, skills, abilities. It's God's part of the contract. Okay? So you're born, your month and day are the same. The 9th month, they're the same. That's very significant in numerology. I know this isn't what you asked me, but when your month and day are the same, or your day and your year, or your month and your year, when any of those numbers match, it means you're an old soul. You've been here many, 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 many times before. And this
Trust me, I feel
coincides with
like it.
you did not have to come back. You chose to come back. You could have gone on and been in charge of sunsets or moonbeams. Who knows, right? Beyond this cycle. But you chose to came back to help others. That's the number 9. It stands for selfless giving, giving without thought of reward. What does that mean? True love asks for nothing. Okay? Love isn't, what can you do for me? What have you done for me lately? What can you buy for me? That's not love. True love gives unconditionally, and that's the number 9. It's a vibration of love. If we look at the word love, L, the 12th letter of the alphabet, is a 3. O, the 15th, is a 6. V, the 22nd, is a 4. And E is already a single digit. That's a 5. So 3 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5 adds up to 18. 1 and 8 is 9.
It's dying.
So your gift from the Creator is to be a creature of love and to share your gift of love with the universe. You got 2 of those. So it's a double helping of selfless giving and unconditional love to elevate the planet. Those are your gifts, month and day. Your year adds up to 22. And that's one of the master numbers. It's called the master builder and the globalist. The master builder and the globalist. What does that mean? Your gifts will enable you to build a financial empire and affect the planet. Okay, pretty high calling.
I was going to say, did you see my
9,
eyebrows go up there when you said that? I was like, oh. And what on earth was
yes,
I
the
thinking?
globalist.
Choosing to come back to this planet. My goodness me, what was I thinking?
Now the 22 is the master representation of the number 4. 2 plus 2 is 4, but it's raised to the highest level. So 4 stands for work and orderliness, but the 22 makes you a workaholic. 22s work, work, work. They keep on working and working and building. And this is why they're called the master builder and the globalist. You'll have an opportunity to affect the planet. So let's put them all together. Okay. Those are the individual gifts. Selfless giving, double dose of that, the ability to affect the planet and be a builder, a globalist. But when you add it together, it's called the birth path number. It's your ultimate gift. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 and 22 is 40. So if we look at the number 40, it has a 0 in it, and 0 is a symbol for God. So the force is with you. It's your gift. The force is with you. What does that mean? Your prayers will always be answered. But it also means you're going to face situations. The only way through them will be to pray. God is your partner. He'll remind you from time to time. Now, the number 40, incidentally, shows up many, many times in the scripture. 40 days and 40 nights, 40 years wandering in the wilderness. And if you look at the conversion chart, 0 is a symbol for God, and 4 stands for orderliness. So whenever we read about the number 40 in the scripture, it means God is establishing a new order. Every time it shows up, a new order is about to be established. So what does that mean when the 40 shows up as your birth date, Don? It means you came here with the help of God to establish a new order on the planet through your teaching, your healing, your love, and selflessness. Those are your gifts. Pretty high calling.
Wow. Yes.
Pretty
Wow.
high calling.
I will do my very best to answer that call, let me tell you. I'm trying hard. I've been doing this for a while. I've been healing and you're trying to share the positivity. So when you say that, it doesn't surprise me, but it's pretty humbling to hear it, you know?
Yes, the only challenge that shows up in your birthday when we subtract 4 from 9 is the challenge of freedom. So what does that mean? You're not here to work 9 to 5. The universe is going to support you, and you're going to have to exercise faith.
Yes.
You can't work 9 to 5.
No, it
Even if you
exhausts me.
try, it's not going to work for you.
Yes.
You came here to stand on your faith, to trust in the universe, and to give. So what does that mean? You're going to the potential is for great wealth when the 9 shows up. 9 stands for selfless giving. 8 is a symbol for money and power, but the word money, M-O-N-E-Y, if you use a conversion chart, M is a 4, O is a 6, N is a 5, so is E, and Y is a 7, and that adds up to 27. And 2 plus 7 is 9. So what does that tell us? The true path to wealth and the way to accumulate financial security is to give money away. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like planting a seed. It's like planting a seed. So I know we all think that ministers are trying to get our money when they tell us to tithe that 10%, but it's really one of the quickest way and the quickest methods of obtaining wealth is to tithe. 10%. You don't have to give it to a organization. You could give it to a charity. You could give it to a guy or someone on the street with looking for a handout. So there's all sorts of ways we can give, but the key is if you want to achieve, if you want to gain, you have to give because we are one. Knowing your oneness with everything else, all that you are giving to yourself. I'm not sure who wrote those words. That's not a quote from me. That's from a song that I heard. I learned a lot from the music that I listened to. All that we give, we're giving to ourselves. So we have to learn to give and give and give because that is the path toward achievement.
Well, I'm
So
kind of
we know your
at the
gifts.
moment. And I have to say, when you were talking about giving, I mean, the most recent one was yesterday. I came out of the store and this has happened a few times lately, and I don't think twice about it. People say, you know, do you have a couple of dollars? I'm trying to get something to eat. And absolutely, if I've got some money there, because I just use my card, I don't need the cash, but I don't carry a lot of cash because there's not really a lot of cash to carry. But whatever I had, I had a bunch of quarters in my wallet that I just handed her, and I was totally happy to do it. And that's funny you should say that because it's been coming up. I think that's been about the fourth time this month. And I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all.
Get ready. A lot of times when I'm speaking and sharing with people, I'll start to receive information. And right now, I've been told to share with you, you've passed the test, and to
Oh,
get ready because 2024 is going to be a year of great abundance and financial reward for you, because you don't have any problem giving it away. You're a philanthropist, and the more you give, God will give you more to give. And your favorite charities and those, I don't know what it is, but I know there's an issue. There's something you're focused on that you know you can help. If only you had the resources, you could solve that issue. You could work on that problem. I don't know what that problem is, but I know you've been contemplating everything you could do if you had the resources, and the universe has been listening. You've been faithful with a little. You didn't wait like most people say, when I'm rich, I'll start giving away. No, you give away what you have. And that's what the universe is looking for. So in 2024, by September, I feel confident enough to say by the end of September, you will not have any financial concerns whatsoever, except who should I bless with this abundance?
oh.
That I know that's not what you asked me, but it comes in. It's like when I look at someone's name and birthday, it's like I'm turning a dial to a radio station and I
Yes.
just start receiving information, receiving
Mhm.
information. So don't be afraid to step out on faith, to exercise your freedom. Faith means taking a step when you don't see the floor beneath your feet, knowing that by the time your foot gets to the floor, there will be solid ground there for you.
Mhm.
You know, faith isn't okay. Well, as soon as someone lays the boards down, I'll step out. No, faith is jumping out eagerly before that floor is there, and you've demonstrated that. In fact, if I may go on to your promise,
Yes.
your part of the contract, your birth name is a 6, which is service, teaching, counseling, rescuing those in need. Your first name and your last name is a number 1, which is leadership, standing on your own, not depending on anyone. Well, everyone knows what numero uno means, right? Self-employment. So since it's a family name, you'll have leaders in your family. But when I add your first and last name, 6 and 1 is 7. And that's the symbol for faith and wisdom. So the gifts that you receive, you said, okay, if you're going to bless me with this selflessness, give me the opportunity to change the planet, to establish a new order, I'm going to have to stay connected with you. I need to receive my information from you, not what's going on there because I'm here to change it. I need a direct connection so I know what you want me to do. And that's the number 7.
Okay.
That's the number
Wow.
of faith. So your response was, I'm going to believe when nobody else does, when everyone else has given up and they're calling me crazy. I'm going to keep believing. Why? Because faith is the assurance of things unseen. And that is why you're going to be able to manifest things other people think are impossible
Well,
because of your
that's
faith.
that's how I've been feeling, I think, this last few months, I must admit. A lot more determined and really, I suppose, less uncomfortable about getting out of my comfort zone. So I'm totally open to receiving all of that. That's fantastic. And it's funny you mentioned that I had been working on something, that I'd been thinking about
Yes.
something, and I have probably for a good year. I won't spill the beans, but it's been something that's important to me. And I've been trying to get this out, but I'm not finding the right people. So watch this space. You never know, because you're totally right there. That's amazing.
For all things, there's a season. And with numerology, you can tell your season by adding your month and day, which is 18, to the current year. 2023 adds up to 25. 2 plus 5 is 7. Okay, so when we add 18 to 7 is 25. This is a 7-year for you. On the 7th day, God rested. So in a 7-year, it's time for researching, analyzing, and turning within through prayer and meditation, making that internal connection, getting in tune with your purpose and why you're here. That's what the 7 is all about, the number 7, turning within.
Mm.
Next year for you is an 8-year. That's money, power. The scripture tells us, seek the kingdom. That's the 7-year. And then all else will be added unto you. That's the 8-year. And speaking of the number 8, with your new name, Don Livingstone, you are a number 8. So 2024, you will be coming into your power, and what you're doing is going to grow. It's going to have a wide appeal, and you're going to be able to address that issue that God has put on your mind and told you, this is where I want you to apply the orderliness. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's where I apply it. Be prepared. The number 4 energy is likened to the spikes they put in the ground when they plant a new tree. Have you seen that? They put spikes in the ground and wrap rubber around that new tree to hold it in place so it can grow straight and true. Can't go to the left, can't go to the right. They discovered they had a 99% survival ratio. They were losing a couple of trees before they did that, either from weather or people just vandalizing them. So they put in the number 4 energy. 4 energy is solid, gives them a firm foundation. But you know what the tree is saying? You're stubborn. You're mean. You're strict. So even though that contraption is saving the tree's life, the tree is complaining about it. So as a number 40, I'm preparing you. Some of your best work may not be readily appreciated. Okay. Now, once
Yes.
that tree starts to grow, they come back and they take that contraption off of it because it'll prevent it from expanding as far as it can. So as a number 40, you'll have to know when to apply that structure and when to let people fall on their face.
Wow. Oh,
Okay. And
yeah.
ask for the help.
Oh, yes. I do constantly. Right. Okay. I'm speechless now after all that. That was not expected. And that's, wow. Yeah. That's
I didn't
very,
expect
very
that either.
interesting. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to reel myself back in here now, off the ceiling. Okay. Maybe you could give us some examples then of some people where that you've been able to help them with, with numerology.
Yes. Yes, I'd be glad to. A couple of them come to mind. One was for a family, and I was employed by an organization called Spirit Journey. Spirit Journey had a contract, and their contract was to help youth who had been locked up, put into prison for whatever the reason, reacclimate back into society, back into their family. And they hired me. They hired me to facilitate this. So I'm in the family's home. I'm waiting for the release. Well, I went to see them first. So I had one meeting with the family. I got all their names and birth dates, got a good idea of the energy that was there. They told me when the son was coming back home. So I'm in the house. I'm waiting for the son to come back home. So I did his chart right there with the family. And what I discovered was they had all the talent, skills, and abilities to run a successful business. Okay. And this guy who was in jail was a natural salesman. We just had to give him the right product. The product he was selling before, he ended up in the jailhouse. So now they have a successful catering business. And he's out finding new businesses and new people to use their business. They're very, very successful catering business. And I'm very happy about, being used in that manner. A second example, one of my clients came to me and he said their daughter had been to several doctors, several psychologists, because she was hearing voices and it was frightening her. And no matter what they said, no matter what they did, she still was upset and worried. So dad was my client, brought the daughter. I did her numbers. I looked at her chart. I read everything. And I discovered she was a number 11. And number 11s, which, by the way, is your married last name. Number 11s, if you look at the number 11, it's like an antenna. Remember old TVs had rabbit ears
Uh-huh.
on them? And you had to move the antenna to get the proper picture. Well, she was a number 11, and the universe was literally speaking through her. And it was frightening her. And I told her, well, this is what's supposed to happen. It's a gift. Okay? It's a gift. And I gave her other examples of 11s. Muhammad is a number 11. The name Jesus is a number 11. So she began to look at this intrusion into her psyche on a whole nother level. She went back to school. She's achieved her master's degree, and now she's a counselor helping other people. And she's so happy about the voices that were driving her crazy. So those two things come to mind. But I guess above all else, Don, I help myself.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. That's great. Um,
I help myself out of a hole, out of a really, really dark place.
Understood.
And through helping myself, now I'm able to help
Help
others.
others. Yeah. Oh, I'm hugging you right now. Hugging you right now. Um, do you just work with individuals, or do you do anything on a more a business level or a corporate level?
Well, I work with businesses and corporations. I have a lot of people in real estate. They'll call me up with an address of homes that they want to buy, and they want to know which property is the best one to buy. I've been able to help them avoid a lot of pitfalls. And if you're listening, watch out for houses with a number 4 address. They're going to need a lot of work,
Oh, they
a
are
lot of
okay.
fixing and mending. So if you live at uh, 3001 or 301 or 2002, adds up to a 4, a lot of work.
So does my house number. So does my house number.
What is the address? Just the numbers.
112.
Number 4,
Yes.
fixing and mending.
Yes, and
And
we're
also,
finding that out.
watch out for the roof. It also matches your number 4, the 40. Remember we did your birthday, it was a 40? So
Mhm.
you are in good space. Many people are living in homes that aren't in harmony with who they are, and they're driving them crazy. So what does that mean? Whatever shows up under that number 4 house, you'll be ready for it and able to address it.
Okay.
That's your house. I don't know what your husband thinks, but that's your house. You're the number 4.
I'm
So
the number
that's in
4.
harmony with your name. But be prepared. It's going to take a lot of fixing and mending. Also, if number 4 houses are excellent for renting out and creating income. So as the number 8 year rolls in for you and your finances improve and you're thinking about another place, you may not have to sell your current home for a down payment. So that's kind of how I help folks get
Okay.
into these conversations and they start going on and on. Um,
That's
but
very
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
that's
because
how
the
it can be used.
I mean, we bought this house knowing it was needing a wee bit of work, but it's needing a bit more than we anticipated, and there's been a couple of things going wrong. Not anything that we couldn't fix or have fixed, but yeah, that's making me think now. That's very
Roof
interesting.
and foundation usually will show up in a number 4 house, roof and foundation. But once you take care of those things, you've got a solid rock, okay, that can produce income for you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so
We've only
mhm.
got a quick minute left. So I know that you have you have an offer for the viewers. Let me just pop up this
Oh,
information
yes.
if you wouldn't mind talking to us about that.
Yes. What you just put up, it says save 20. And that's a code you can use at checkout on my website. Um, you don't need you don't need to put the quotes in. Just type in save 20 and you get a 20% discount on all of my services. Any service you'd like to get. I have a book that's available. I do forecasts if you want to know what's coming up, as I've just shared with Dawn. Wonderful year coming up for her financially. I do readings, consultations, visit the website, a wide array of services. I also teach classes and do workshops. These are classes I started at the university, but what happened was after COVID, I went viral. I mean, yeah, using the technology of Zoom.
Mhm.
So now I'm teaching the classes on my own. So those are available also. And at checkout, just enter that code, save 20, and you'll get 20% off all my services, thanks to Dawn.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I have to say I'm goosebumps from head to toe for this whole this whole hour. So I want to thank you so much, Dr. Craig. You have been an absolute wealth of information, and I've thoroughly
Thank
enjoyed
you.
having you. Thank you so much. And if I could just say a big thank you to the viewers as well for tuning in. And I would highly recommend that you check out Dr. Craig's website because he's got some fantastic things there. Anyhow, right now, thank you so much. Blessings to you, sweetheart. And I was really blessed to meet you. But for now, I have to say goodbye. Take
Goodbye,
care.
Dawn. Have
Bye.
a great day.
You too.